Yo guys, in today's video I'll show you how to make a Fortnite skin crying in a mirror thumbnail. This is very simple, but I'll just show you how to do it in this video since I've gotten a lot of people on Twitter saying they don't know really how to make it. So yeah, and before we get into this video, I want you guys to make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you don't miss another upload. And remember to follow my other socials, my Twitter such as, and that's down in the description. Without further ado, let's go. So first all, you would need a render. So I got just made this one right here, and then you would also when you make the render, also think about what color lighting you want as the environment and in the glass, just to make sure everything matches. So once you got that, you would want to get some glass stock. So go on Google and then search up glass or rain window night stock like this, and then just pick one you like. Alright, so I got this one. This should be fine and should be usable. Might not be the best one, but it works. When you pick out a window stock, you shouldn't really care about the colors, cause we're gonna change that later on. So when you got this, put it below the render, size it up to your liking, and then right click and press perspective. Then you can take these corners and just drag them a bit until it looks good, then match until you like it. Drag around and play around with the size and stuff like that, and rotate a little. So this looks pretty good. So as you can see, the quality doesn't really look that good and stuff like that. So what we'll do to fix that, we will go to camera, we'll press Ctrl+Shift+A, and that will load us in. There we go. So once you're in camera, start up with the basic settings. Turn down the texture a little bit, then turn up the clarity just for that stuff. Play around with it a bit. Then go down to detail here, turn up noise reduction, and turn up sharpen. As you can see, it's already way more improved. Maybe you can up the sharpen a bit more just to get that crisp look. Sometimes it looks a bit better, but sometimes it doesn't, depending on the picture itself. But here you can see how good the rain looks here. So now I got out the way. Now we want to make it match the colors of the lighting of the skin that we decided when we made the render. So make it here in saturation adjustment layer, clipping mask it to the skin, and then press colorize. Then try to find the closest color possible. Doesn't have to be perfect, but just try to get it right. It doesn't need to be completely the same, but just until you like it. There we go, that should be fine. Then press Ctrl+I, then just paint it in some areas, and then make another one so we can make some kind of gradient. Take a lighter one for an example, like all the way down here, and then paint that down here so it's some kind of gradient, so it's just not one simple color. Looks pretty decent. Alright, so now we got the color. We want to do a bit of depth and fill. So press on here, press filter, then blur gallery, then iris blur. I would recommend using blur gallery all the time, Gaussian blur sometimes, but Gaussian blur just isn't really that good. So just play around with the circle until you find something that looks decent, then play around with the blur until it's a bit, but not too much, just a bit. Also play around with this one. Only close up that it's good quality a lot. Just like so kinda. Then up the light bouquet. So you see this kinda, and then you can also play with the light range for that. Just make it look a bit better. There we go. Perfect. Then press OK. So this is just before and after. As you can see, it looks way better. Then what we want to do is make some kind of glow from the glass itself. So make a new layer above the skin. Press linear dodge add. Select the color that kind of matches here, but don't make it completely the same. So kind of like this blue. And then take here, just put it a bit like here in the light spot. Then lower the fill. Like this. So you can see it looks very good. And then maybe make another one and make it a bit brighter. down here. Makes it a bit better, right? Next step is to like make the skin look a bit more better with the highlight and such as. So as you can see here, this is very bright, but this right here is a bit bland. So we're gonna make, well, first of all, let's make a color balance node here and just play around with the colors to make it look a bit better and match it a bit better. So let me do that. Play around with the cyan and blues, since that's the whole theme we're going for. Just like so. You can already see how much of a difference that makes, and then just load the opacity to your liking, just like so. Then we can also use a photo filter if that looks good. Sometimes you don't really need it. Sometimes you can only use a photo filter. Just lower the density. That's fine. Maybe a bit lower. That's fine. Then make a new layer, as like so, and then press this one so it goes black and white again. Press X to make it switch to white color. Then put the blend mode to overlay. Zoom into here of the skin's edge, and then just paint a soft little rim light here to make it look a bit better and a bit brighter. I just like to use, you can also use exposure adjustment and then put that to overlay, but yeah, it doesn't really matter. You can just load the opacity and stuff like so. Okay, as you can see, it already looks like way better for thumbnails, and should have the CTR sometimes. So I'm just do that real quick. Make sure to use your time with this so it looks good on all of the spots. So for example here, it doesn't really help sometimes, but sometimes it do. But yeah, make sure to get all the spots in. And you can also paint like this, fill in the spot, and then erase. That's also a very great way to make highlights. So as you can see, in a way that already helps a lot. Also do that to the other side. And before, let's just make this background black so we can see how it's actually looking. So just paint here as well. Make it soft, of course. Oh, if you don't know how to make the brush bigger and smaller like this, just hold Alt and right click and then drag. So yeah, just do that real quick. Just like so. So let's see before and after. Makes it pop out a lot more than before. So next step. It doesn't really look realistic when it just is here and there's no shadows on the window. So that's what we're gonna do next. Take the skin, press Ctrl C, go here, press Ctrl V, and then clipping mask it to the window. Try to play with sizes and drag it down a bit and stuff like that. It's fine if it's cut out over here because you're not really gonna use it either way on top. Then press Ctrl U and then turn the lightness all the way down. You can also use color overlay, but this is way faster. Put this to overlay and then lower the opacity a bit to your liking, and then put some Gaussian blur on it, just so it looks a bit decent. Doesn't have to be too blurred since it's very close, so it needs to be a kind of sharp shadow. So kind of like this, and delete the top like so. Then just like so. Then you can make another one, Ctrl J, put that to normal, and then just lower the fill here. Clip and mask it as well, and opacity a bit. So just a little way to make it a bit more realistic. The next step would be add a little depth and fill to the skin. So press this skin, press filter, blur gallery, and then iris blur again, just like we did to the mirror. I press Ctrl H if it doesn't show up, then just play around with the circle until it looks good. So now once that's done, since the light is so bright behind and here, we need the light to bounce off. That's how it usually happens in real life if you see some sun shining on the middle. So make a layer under the skin, put that to linear dodge add, and then pick like the bluish color again over here. Then just go behind the skin and just paint it softly like so. If the color doesn't look right, you can always change it with control hue and saturation. I'll do that as well so I can show you, because this doesn't really match. And these stronger spots, make sure to paint a bit more. So yeah, do it realistic. And then just load the fill a bit. And then maybe change the color a bit. Just like so. You could then, I would add, since you can see these little dots, white dots here, I would make them more visible, since they tend to make like a crying effect more visible. So make a new layer. You can clip and mask it to the skin, whatever, you don't really need to. So select the white color and you just paint over them. Just like so. And sometimes you can also add an extra little dot over here. Maybe bigger. Just like so. Gives a little detail and makes it look a bit more sad and stuff like that. Then since it's a girl, there's like makeup of course, so what you want to do is press new layer, select the black color, make it a very soft brush by pressing Alt and right click, drag, and then just paint like this. Just make sure to make it fit all the way around like that. And I would actually recommend clipping mask this to the skin so it's a bit easier to work with. Just like that. And then take an eraser and just take a big brush and just erase down here. Just like so. It's a bit hard here, so just do it like this. Make sure it doesn't get over the mask, for example here. And then lower the opacity of that. Make sure to don't get it over the mask if you have a skin like that. Just lower the opacity until you're liking. And then what you want to do is make another one. And then take a black brush here and try to paint some tears, kinda. It's usually easier if you have the smoothing up to like 30-20%. It's kind of hard since this mask is here, so yeah, but yeah. So I want to delete this. Load opacity as well, just like so. It's a very small detail. Maybe also paint on the side here. That doesn't really make sense, so just don't. Now she's crying a bit. So what we want to do now is make a new layer here, put that to black brush and make that overlay. Paint over here, make sure to remove smoothing again, over here to the window. Just remove it here and then kind of just delete here in the middle of the window, so it goes on onto like bottom and top and sides kind of. And then lower the opacity until you're liking. Just make sure it's to a bit dark. Just like so. And then maybe take a white brush and then paint white. If it looks good and it's not bright enough. But yeah. There you go. Another thing we can try is doing this. Make a new layer. And then take a white brush. Just paint down some rain. Just like so. Might not look that good. Maybe play around the perspective. Just like so. And then put that to overlay. Lower the opacity and then delete some with the brush. It's a little effect. There's more rain. So now we edited the skin and edited the window. So what we're gonna do now is group all the layers for the skin. Make sure you have everything. Then press Ctrl C and then go over here, Ctrl V. So it's, as you can see, it's the whole skin. Then press Ctrl E to merge the whole group. Then press Ctrl T and right click and then press flip horizontal. Then try to position the skin until it looks good here in the window, like so, for example. So it almost looks like she's looking up on her. Then try to find a blend mode that looks good. Sometimes maybe you can try to press it on overlay and then desaturate it. I don't really like that, so linear color add or Lighten also looks good, but just look at all of them. Lighten is what I like. So take lighten and maybe desaturate it as well. Oh, colorize it actually. And make it blue kinda. Just like so. Saturate it a bit more. Then Control J, Control V, and then Control E again. So the skin is here again. Flip horizontal. Position it the exact same position. I'll try at least. Then have it in normal and just delete some spots like this. And then put that to something where you can see the eyes. So like kind of like that. Highlight looks decent. Just remove here. Only so you can see the eyes. And then lower the opacity. Small little detail. And then you can lower fill of both. Until you like it. This looks fine. Then we need to figure out a background over here. And those are kinda like you can just figure out whatever, but I'm just gonna try to find like a night city. So city night rain stock. And you might find a good one that's very blurred, or you can blur it yourself a lot. Something like these, but without it looking like a window, could look very, very good for an example. Alright, so I got this image. I don't know if that's gonna look good. I'll try a new image if it doesn't. So put that all the way to the bottom over the layer 0. Make it scale it to the size of your liking. So it's supposed to be a bit big. I'm gonna try to not make it so you can see the people, neither the ground, just so I can only have the building and the lighting, just like so. This is very, very, very bad quality. So Control Shift A to open up camera and try to make the quality a bit better again. So up noise reduction and up the sharpening, then lower the texture and up the clarity. That helped a little bit. And then we can try to find a color lookup to maybe try to make it look a bit more like night. If not, if that doesn't really work, I'm probably gonna find a new background. This looks decent. Let me look at the other ones. You can also mix a few ones. Then just take the black one, brush, and just remove it from the buildings a bit. Just like so. Then take a hue saturation adjustment layer, colorize. Let's paint the buildings to your color and what you like. And I also like it more darker blue-ish. Kinda, maybe a bit less. And then remove it from the middle here. And what I want to do is take the background and press filter, blur gallery. Actually, you can group all these. Press Ctrl J and Ctrl E to merge them. Hide this one and then press filter, blur gallery, and fill blur. We merge them just so the hue and saturation adjustment layer also get blurred with them. So we want to up the light bouquet and then up the blur a lot. Just like so. It doesn't really look night, so I'm gonna try to play around with the curves a bit more to make it look a bit darker, just like so. This looks a bit better. Then we can do some color balancing to get the colors to match a bit more to my liking. Just like so, kinda. It doesn't really match, but try to work with it as much as possible. I'm also gonna maybe just lower the exposure. Just like so, and then just where there's light, take a low flow brush and then paint black. That way it looks a bit more night. Doesn't need to be looking too realistic here. Just like so. and then you can press new layer, take the flow up again, pick a white brush, and then press overlay and paint over here. Actually, I will take this layer all the way to the top so the light also comes over the skin, just like so. Just like so. Looks perfect. So what I'm gonna do now is make a new layer on top, press overlay, and then take a black brush, paint it all the way, take an eraser, make it a big, make it pretty big, and then just delete a few times in the middle, then lower the fill. Also remove a bit from here so it's not too much there, just like so. And that's almost done. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna do some camera on the skin. So locate your layer for the skin. Mine is in a group, of course. So press the skin, Control Shift A to go in camera again. And then once you're in here, up the noise reduction, and then up the sharpen, and then up the clarity. That's what I usually do. And then it looks a bit more like this. Then another one thing you can do is put an exposure adjustment layer, lower the opacity, just like that, and then just remove it from where the rim lights are supposed to be, like so. This just gives it a bit more darker effect, just makes it look 10 times better in my opinion. Just do that real quick. And then maybe just play around how dark you want it. And yeah, just play around with all your stuff until they look good. Alright, so now we got the whole stuff basically sorted out. So actually one more thing, if you don't have any packs or anything, you can go on Google, but I'm gonna go in me and Fimsy's pack and go and find some particles. The pack will be linked below if you want to buy it for $12, but in here we can find some particles right here. And the bottom particles I really like to use for these kind of thumbnails. So all the way at the top, Control V, and then like that, size it up and rotate it a bit to your liking. Looks different all the time, just do about like that. Move the top ones, Control U, and then change the color, just like that. And then that should be it. So now you're gonna press this one, hold Shift, select this layer, and then Control, and then G. So what this does is group everything. Then press Control, Shift, Alt, and E. That creates a layer that's merged and cropped already. Then convert that to Smart Object. And now you can just go Control, Shift, A and do your camera roll. So I'm gonna click do that, and yeah. Alright, so I'm done with camera now, so this is kind of final, but one more thing you can do that I like to just do as a finishing touch is Control J, then go to camera again. Then once you're in camera, you're gonna press the diesel presets or whatever they are on your version, and then select the matte one. Sometimes it looks good, sometimes it doesn't. Just lower the opacity. It doesn't really look good for this one, but yeah, you can try that sometimes, and yeah, if it works, it works. But I appreciate everyone tuning in, and make sure to hit that subscribe button and the like button once again. And yeah.